Hello, writer friends. Welcome to Let's Write Scripts. I'm Micah Crowdy, the head of writing at Arc Studio, as it says below my name, and I couldn't say it there if it wasn't true. Arc Studio is the best screenwriting app in the world, and there's a link to check it out in the description if you want to use it to write your scripts. Today, we're going to be doing 3 writing sprints where you can work on your script, and we'll be chatting in between the sprints about screenwriting, and I will be answering your questions about screenwriting. So it's going to be a lot of writing, and it doesn't have to be screenwriting. Sometimes people are working on other stuff. I'm actually working on something a little different today. But yeah, any kind of creative writing that you want to do with us, you're welcome to join during the writing sprints, to ask questions during the chat, and just really, enjoy hanging out with fellow writers all around the world. And I don't know, it's generally a really great time. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be productive. We're gonna be creative, and we're just gonna really, it's important as creatives, as writers, that we take this time for our writing, to exercise our minds in this way. And yeah, it's always great. One of my favorite times of the week. So before we get into it, I want to know where in the world you are. What are you writing today? What kind of project are you working on? Where are you in the process? And then we always have a little discussion question to get our brains going. I need it now because it's hot. It's a hot day and my brain's struggling a little bit. So I need a little bit of a warm up. And our discussion question today is, how do you hook the reader? I'm going to share a few thoughts on that in a moment, but I'd love to know your thoughts. How do you hook through? What do you think? All right. And then, of course, during the second break, after the second writing sprint, I'll show the sandwich of the week. And if you're new and you're wondering what's the sandwich of the week, well, you're going to have to wait till the second break to find out. It's always very exciting, though, I have to say. It's one of the highlights here. We're here for the writing and for the sandwich. Love seeing everyone in the chat. Ryan with an E in Maryland. Juno, glad you're back. Karifa Creator. What? Ryan got excited. I accepted the university as your dream degree, creative writing in English with a concentration of screenwriting. Hey, congratulations, Ryan. That is so cool. I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome. Great news. Great positive energy to start the day with. Karifa Creator from Georgia. Christian from South Carolina just finished up a declutter read on his draft. Oh, I love that. You get a little tighten a little bit, lose a little word count. That's fantastic. Loving to see everyone giving Ryan with an E props. Jay from New Jersey took a leave of absence. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a bit. Work as a PA in your friend's horror movie. Oh, working on a hired project now. Fantastic. How was it PAing on a friend's horror movie? It's great. It's a great experience to be on set. I love that. Zoe, redrafting your pilot. Glad you're here. Tessa, multitasking with your day job and working on a pilot in Studio City. So balancing both the creative and the paycheck. Love it. Amy in Portland, working on a vomit draft of your second screenplay. Awesome. Love it. Sai from India. Cash in Arkansas, working on a short film. Doris from Boston, working on your short film. Really actually excited about this one. Were you not excited about your other one? But this one, at least you're excited with this one. That's awesome. So our discussion question is, where is it? How do you hook the reader? So this is like talking about the opening of your script. People are busy. Someone's decided to read your script, and then they read the first couple of pages, and you want them to want to keep reading more. So how do you get them to desire to want to read more, to keep going, to flip the pages? I'm going to share a few thoughts, and I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on there. Hey, Pamela from Nextgo, glad you're here. But here are some things just to think about, because I feel like there's one thing about hooking the reader that some people think like, oh, exciting, big, like explosions, action, and that kind of stuff has a place. It can be fun. It can be exciting, but it's really about emotional investment. That I always like to say, that like you want them to care about what's going on. And so getting them to care about your character is really helpful, and kind of getting like demonstrating what your character's problem is a really fantastic way to sort of generate that empathy, because it's also something, it's like the human thing that the audiences can identify with, that they're like, oh yeah, that they can empathize with, right? That they can feel what they're feeling. So it's kind of like on two levels. You have that, like below, you have the emotional level, and then you have you have the story stuff, the plot stuff, the questions that you get the audience to ask. If you can do both of those, like emotional investment and wondering about things, it's always great when you're writing, wherever you are in the script or whatever, to think about like, what is the audience, what is the reader wondering right now? What are they wondering about? What do they want to know? What are they interested in? What are they worried about happening? And making sure that you're feeding them interesting questions. And so that's really important at the beginning, when you're trying to hook the reader, that they're intrigued, that they want to know more about this, that they want to know something. They have a question about things. So that's another thing you can do. And then another thing I'll just say is we talk about world building, off and on this, and you don't need that much at the start, right? At the start, it can feel a lot like baggage when there's too much, just enough to understand the character and what they're going through. And you can reveal more along the way. Really focus on the character, on getting the story going, on getting those questions going. And then you can kind of fill in the gaps about the world as we know. Checking in with the chat. Let's see here. Kelly from Kansas, working on a feature. First 10 pages rewrite. Well, there you go. You're hooking the reader with your first 10 pages. KJ from Richmond, at the library with your son, exploring a new script idea. Oh, that's so awesome. Fantastic. Best of luck. For hooking the reader, Cash says withholding information with every question answered, leave 2 unanswered until the end. Or is that too J.J. Abrams? I mean, I think like in general, that's a good approach where there's a risk, I say, like, especially when you bring up the J.J. Abrams things, like with questions, like, I'll just talk about questions. It's fantastic, but you do need to make sure that like you are answering some questions, as you bring up the new ones. It's really good. Like if the answer to one question can sort of create a new question, or you answer one and quickly ask a new one, then like having that chain of questions can be fantastic. Doris is saying hooking the reader is still something I'm trying to figure out. Very interested in everyone's thoughts on this. Yeah, love to get everyone more thoughts on what you think about hooking the reader in the chat. Juno, I think sometimes it's effective to spoil the surprise, what is going to happen in the story, but let the reader wonder how it possibly could happen, which is the story's about. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. People are so obsessed about spoilers, but in so many things, you kind of know what's going to happen, but like the emotional journey to get there is you don't know exactly how, and you don't know exactly like what the character is going to do or what they're going to go through. And so you can tease it a little bit at the beginning by kind of like, and that's kind of what setting the tone does, is giving the audience a sense of what kind of story this is what this is. And if they know the tone, they kind of oftentimes know how it's going to turn out, whether it's going to be a sad story or a happy story. But like they kind of want to be surprised and they want to be taken on a journey. So I think that's pretty cool. Sai is asking, can a hero lose goal about which whole film is pitched on before a film release with trailers, promotion content, lose that goal by pre-clearance and a new goal comes from him? Audience might be disappointed. I mean, yeah, that feels a little bit like a bait and switch. Like everything, there's no like hard and fast rule. Like it just kind of depends on how you pull it off. It's not that like it's necessarily wrong or you can't do it. It's just that there is a high bar for failure. If you're going to do that, if you're going to make it all about one thing, then suddenly it's not about that thing. It has to be done in so well that the audience like is just on board with it. So I'm not saying you can't do that. It's just, it's a difficult thing to pull off. Awesome. Well, I'm loving seeing everybody here, loving seeing everybody in the chat. I think we're going to get some great writing done. If you're new and you're wondering exactly what this is, you're like, all right, I get this is about screenwriting kind of, and there's some dude on the screen talking about it. We are going to do 3 timed writing sprints on this. So what happens is a timer goes up on the screen. I play some chill music. I mute myself and I shrink over to the side. I'm writing on my computer. You're all writing on your computers. And it's a time just really for you to focus on whatever it is that you need to focus on. There's not prompts, I'm not giving you assignments or anything like that. We're all working on different things. We're at different points of the writing process. So it's very self-directed. It's just whatever you need to get done, you do it. And then after the timer runs out, we come back together and I answer screenwriting questions you might have, or we talk about how the writing went. And then we do some more sprints. So we're talking about it. We're asking questions. We're working on our projects. It is it's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. So we're going to jump into the first sprint here in just a moment. And it is it's the warm-up sprint. It's the 15-minute sprint. It's chill. It's like low bar, low pressure. Oftentimes on the 15-minute sprint, reading back over, what you were working on last time you were working on, last time you were working on the project. You're doing some free writing. You're just kind of like getting in the groove. And if you make some progress or whatever, that's awesome. That's like that's a bonus. But just like low pressure. I'm all about low pressure on the first one. And so I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna get into the first sprint right now. I'm gonna slow it down. I'm gonna get us in that chill warm up vibe here by just slowing my voice down. And I'm going to play some music. I'm going to put the 15-minute timer up, and then, yeah, we're going to write. We're going to work on our projects. And again, we'll come back and chat more after that sprint. So how you guys feeling? You guys ready to write? You ready to get into it? Are your fingers warmed up? I'm going to stretch mine a little bit, and 15 minutes on the clock. And let's do it. Let's do some writing, folks. I gotta unmute myself. That brings us to the end of the first writing sprint, the chill writing sprint, the 15-minute writing sprint. Welcome to everyone who joined during that sprint. This is Let's Write Scripts, brought to you by Arc Studio Screenwriting Software, the best screenwriting software in the world. And there's a link to check it out and start writing your script for free in the description. For everyone who's doing that sprint, I want to know, how did it go? Let me know in the chat. Are the muses with us? Are the fingers flying? Are the creative juices flowing? Are you making progress or not? Have muses abandoned you? Are you adrift at sea in stormy waters? Let me know. And if you're struggling with anything, is there anything in particular that you're struggling with? Any questions in particular? Get in the chat and let me know. I love to answer any questions you have about screenwriting, about the craft of writing in particular, specifically something you're struggling with in your script right now, or just a general screenwriting question. Yeah, get it in the chat and let me know. So glad that you guys are with me today. Yes, the first sprint flies by, which was good. It's a good one. Cash had a good sprint. Grief of the Muses had mercy on you. Fantastic. Jordan, got a lot on your inciting incidents. Yes, and for KJ, fingers flying, revised existing material and added a new page. All right, I love it. For me, it was all right. My brain's a little heat, dealing with the heat a little bit, so it took me a while to like get into the groove, but it's all right. I got hope for the second the sprint. John, Amy dug right in. John went well. Fantastic. All right. I'm loving the vibe today. I'm loving the vibe. I feel like usually there's at least one person who's like, that was horrible. But so I want to know, if you're that person who's like, that was horrible, get in the chat and let me know. Karifa asked, how do I know whether a story idea I have is better for a movie, script, or a book? I mean, it's not a binary, right? It's not necessarily an either or, and that's like, you know, you can base that on the fact that there are many stories that have been both movies and books, right? So just it's a story can, you know, doesn't necessarily mean it'll work as one and it won't work as the other. I mean, really, I think it has to do with like what you're more excited about. Like, how do you see it? There's also something in the sense where like movies tend to be like a little more streamlined in their story, right? Like they're shorter, there's less material in it, and it's sort of focusing more on like one kind of through line, whereas like books oftentimes can be larger, you know, there's like multiple POVs, you're like following multiple storylines, and there's lots of other stuff. Movies can have multiple storylines and multiple characters, obviously, but it's a little more focused. So I'm trying to think, that could be one determining factor in terms of like what you write the story as. But it comes down to like what you see it as and like what you're most excited about, you know, bringing to life. I would say that. Question might sound dumb. Hey, I don't think so. So I think it's be a great question. But does dialogue in a pilot need to serve as a point to drive the narrative forward? Like characters only talk about things that matter to the plot? So no, but yes, kind of. I mean, this is tricky. This is like you've hit on a really important thing right here, and like the function of dialogue. I mean, I think dialogue has and this is the same thing I think about like scenes. Someone asked last week to like, do all scenes need to have conflict? And it's like, usually they do, but not all scenes. What all scenes need is to have a point. And I feel like it's the same thing for dialogue. Does dialogue need to drive the narrative forward? I mean, like most of the time, yes, but like not always. But what it needs is to have a point. So basically like the dialogue should be tied into whatever the goal is of the scene. Like you have this scene in your pilot for a reason. What's the reason? This is a way to think about it, right? So you have this scene. What's the point of this scene? Why is it in your story, in the narrative? The dialogue serves to further that goal. So if that goal of the scene is to show the character's mindset before or after this big event or something, then like the dialogue goes to that end, right? If the point of the scene is to, you know, like have this twist that reveals that like propels the story forward, or, you know, then the dialogue. So I would say step back to what the point of the scene is and have your dialogue be in service of that. Like, it could be just to show how much two people love each other because they're about to be ripped apart, you know? So like, what's the point of the scene, and have the dialogue serve that point. Yeah. Juno read some old work in that sprint, got in a more energetic zone to really put new words down. Maybe some free writing next sprint to organize my thoughts. Fantastic. Yeah, I think proof this is a good point. Like I was mentioning, the dialogue can flesh out the characters and their relationships. Like, not everything is moving the story forward. Sometimes it's about getting to know the character, revealing new sides of them, or the relationships totally. But again, I think I would just stake back to like, what is the point of the scene, and like have it serve that. Justin, can't figure out how to polish up my script. I wrote a pilot, but should I start a new treatment to figure out my story better, or a Bible to flesh out everything I want for the show, etc., for a better pilot? That's an interesting question, Justin. So it seems like you've been working on this, and you like hit a wall kind of with it, and you're wondering like what, it's not there. You can recognize maybe that it's not where you want it to be, but you're not quite sure how to get that gap. And I think that's a pretty common situation to find yourself in as a writer. A couple thoughts on that. One has to do with like checking in on your level of like, are you still invested in this project? Do you still have energy? Do you want to do it? Like, yes. Do you believe in it? And if so, fantastic. If not, like, sometimes it's okay to move on to something else. Like, I believe like it's great to finish things, but like, if you think you've taken something as far as it can and it's not going to work, like you're not forced to keep working on it if you don't want to. But if you still believe in it and you want to move forward on it, which it seems like that's in the situation that you're in, which is cool, then yeah, what strategies can you use to do that? So reworking the story, I think oftentimes I would maybe go back to the outline, because sometimes like when you're writing it, you're kind of baked in, it's like to this certain structure, and that maybe there's a better structure. Like I think it would basically, I mean, it really comes down to like, what is it that you think it's missing, right? Like what you need to figure out your story better. Like, yeah, I mean, you can write a treatment, you can write it out, like re-outline it. But like going back to the outline is basically what you're doing, it seems like. And I think that is oftentimes a very good step, because sometimes when you're writing a pilot in an early draft, really like you're just learning still about it, but then you have this thing that doesn't really work, and sometimes then you need to completely restructure it because you've learned things in that lesson. And if that's fine, if like it takes a draft in order to figure out what works and what's not working and like what you're missing, that's not wasted effort. Like that's great. Like you can use that moving forward. So yeah, I mean, I would say maybe starting a treatment or an outline, to kind of like rework the structure can be fantastic. Wanted to start social media for my writing. Is there one you'd recommend? I just want to focus on, want to see how to do that. Do you mean to like promote your writing, or as like you're writing for that platform? So Cash, let me know what you're saying about that. Like when you start a social media for your writing, are you saying like to promote your projects, or like to have that social media be your creative outlet like you're writing? Okay. Yeah, to promote. I mean, it's a little wide open. Like, Twitter or X used to be like more of the screenwriter's medium, but that's sort of changed. A lot of people are on Instagram. A lot of people are on TikTok. I mean, I think it would just depend on like what you're most comfortable with, like what platform you feel more reflects your voice and what you want to do. I mean, I'm not like an expert in like promotion, so I don't have a lot of insights. I would say basically like whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever platform do you think you'll be able to like create content that resonates with the audiences on, right? Because like every platform kind of has their own vibe, and so like whatever you're planning to make, I would say match that up to the platform that you're working on. All right, cool guys. That was the first sprint. I think we should stretch just a second here and then move on to the second sprint. So we're going to move into the big boy. I like to call it the Goldilocks sprint because you're not too tight. You're warmed up, but you're not yet too tired. It's the middle sprint. It's It's 25 minutes on the clock. And this is the one where oftentimes I find I do the best writing. And I think a lot of us here do their best writing in the 25 minute writing sprint. One thing I will just say before we hop into it, though, is just announcements. We're going to be doing this next week as well. Let's Write Scripts is every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on the Arc Studio Screenwriting YouTube channel. So right here on the same channel, in next week, 1 p.m. Pacific, we'll be doing this again. We'll be writing. We'll be here. We'll be hanging out. You're welcome to join. And again, people have been talking about, I mean, if you've been hanging around, if you've been subscribing, you know that I've been making more videos, screenwriting content. And I dropped one on Monday about the coin toss scene in No Country for Old Men. And it's basically a video on writing tension. And there's like a lot of lessons in there for writing tension in scenes. And the Coen brothers are masters at that. So check out that video on the channel, The Tension of a Coin Toss. It's the Anton Chigurh, what's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss scene. And I just like go through it in depth. And that's fantastic. So check that out. And then this coming Monday, I've got another video coming in about character goals and Breaking Bad and Walter White. And kind of like the two questions that I always bring up about characters. What do they want and why do they want it, and how it relates to Breaking Bad and how it can relate to your own work. So check that out on Saturday. Oh, here's another one. Justin also suggested Substack. Yeah, that's another new channel that's like pretty popular to promote your stuff. All right, so Felix just shot his first script this weekend. Really formative experience. Congrats. That's so awesome. I haven't shot in a while. I've made a few short films, and it's so much work. I know how hard it is. But that's so great that you shot. And seems, judging by the number of exclamation points, that it went well, Felix. So I'm so excited for you, and I hope it turns out well, and I hope the edit comes together well. All right. We are going to get back into writing. Loving the chat, loving the support, people answering each other's questions in the chat. It's fantastic. 25 minutes on the clock now. We're going to jump back into it. More writing. Yeah, here we go. This is the middle sprint. This is the big one, the 25-minute sprint for you to work on your scripts or whatever your creative project is. I'm going to play some more music, put the timer up, and then we're going to come back. I'll answer more questions. We'll chat more. I'll show the sandwich of the week after the next break. But I think we should do some more writing. That's what we're here to do. So 25 minutes on the clock. Let's get into it, everybody. All right, and this brings us. I feel like I need to sing since I have music on in the background. This brings us to the end of the second writing sprint, the 25-minute writing sprint, the Goldilocks writing sprint. This is Let's Write Scripts. Welcome to everyone who joined during that writing sprint. If any of you did join during that writing sprint, this is, again, Let's Write Scripts. I'm Micah Crady, the head of writing at Arc Studio, the best screenwriting software in the world, which you can check out at the link in the description. I'm also a WJ screenwriter, and I'm here to answer your screenwriting questions. So my first question, well, actually, I have a question, then I'll answer your question. My question is, how did that writing sprint go for you? Seemed like people were doing pretty well in the first sprint in the chat, so I want to know, did things continue on that upward trajectory, or did we hit the top of the roller coaster and start to dive? Get in the chat, let me know how it went. If there's anything in particular you're dealing with, you're struggling with in your writing, let me know. I'd love to answer any questions. Again, it can be something inspired by something that like you're actually trying to figure out in your script, or a problem you've come up against in your script, or just a more general question about screenwriting, about the craft of screenwriting. Get in the chat and let me know. That sprint was interesting for me because it was 25 minutes long. And like for 22 of those minutes, I was in the weeds. Like I literally lost the plot in this story. Like it was one of those things where I'm just like, what am I doing? I got off track. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to work, get back on track. And then I'm doing that. I'm like, wait, no, this is wrong. And then in the last 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, right. This is what I'm doing. This is the character's journey. Basically, I had the character kind of starting in the wrong point. Like they had too much knowledge of themselves, of their problem, kind of. And I was like, oh, right. They're ignorant of this. They think they're fine. And that's the problem. And then they're like disabused of that notion. They've come like, oh, right, I'm not. And so I was just kind of starting them in the wrong mental space. And then so it was like 90 seconds of good, or a little, I don't know, 180 seconds. So wait, no, in between 180 seconds. That's 3 minutes, right? Yeah. 60, 120, 180 seconds of like productivity. And then, however, I'm not going to do the math of 22 minutes times 60. If someone else wants to do that many seconds first of just like, what the heck am I doing here? No idea. But that's sometimes what writing is you have to bang your head against a wall for 23 minutes or 22 minutes. And then finally at the end, you like, oh, right. That's what I'm doing. So that's how that writing sprint went for me. So let me know how it went for you. I love jump scaring people at the end of a sprint because that means that the writing was going super well and you were just like in it. Usually I try to like be very soft after the writing sprints when I like turn my mic back on so that I don't jump scare people. So apologies for that. I came in a little too hot on the microphone. Same Zoe. I get so immersed in writing sometimes I forget about the live. I want to say this. I always say this as a reminder. If your writing's going great and the sprint ends, like just because I start talking doesn't mean that you have to stop writing. Like if you're feeling it, like ignore me, mute me or whatever, just like keep doing it. Like if you want to hang out with me and ask questions and listen and participate in the chat and all that other stuff, that's awesome. Like I love it, but we're here for your writing. So if you want me to shut up, that's like the power that y'all have is like, you can make me shut up just by like turning your volume off. So feel free to exercise your prerogative, your power anytime you want and just make me shut up. And if the writing's going good, just do your own thing. Jordan visited the weeds with me as well. Did you get out of the weeds, Jordan? Or are you still in there? Let me know. Christian's money shifting to the next thing. Oh yeah. Solution is found. Love it. Definitely. Still rereading. I love it. Yeah, it is. It is hilarious. Cash had a good sprint. Finished first draft of your short film, minus one gag that runs in the closed credit. Cool. 17 pages, mostly dialogue. I'm going to go out of the scene descriptions for draft 2. That's going to be a long one. Are you filming that yourself, Cash? Yeah, let me know. 17 pages. I feel like my short films will usually shorter than that, but like if it's dialogue, that'll probably go pretty quick. I love it. All right, good. I'm Jordan. I'm glad you got out of the weeds. It can take a while. And like, it's really hard because when we're in the weeds, like it's so difficult to not see that as wasted time. Like you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm just wasting time. I only have so much time, so much energy to give to this project or whatever, or like so much of my creative self that I can use and I'm wasting it by going on these rabbit trails or getting lost in the weeds. in all of that kind of stuff. But like, it's like the weeds are the path. Like sometimes you have to go through the weeds to get to where you want to go. It's like it can't be avoided. So in the moment, it's really hard to think that. Like I struggle with it. That's why I'm like saying it out loud to remind myself, right? Like it's not necessarily bad that you were in the weeds. It's where you got to on the other side. So that's it. Again, if you guys have any questions, any screenwriting questions, general craft questions, or something specifically that you're dealing with in your script, please get in the chat and let me know. In the meantime, it is time for the sandwich of the week. And here we go. This little beauty sandwich. I like to sign my artwork right here. We got a classic turkey on black sesame, like got that thick bread. We got the cheddar, sun-dried tomatoes, avocado, Italian greens, a little pickle in there, some mayo. And you know what? I just really like the mustard on this one, just like the little yellow pops of color. Maybe in particular because you have like the black of the black sesame seeds, and so like the yellow mustard is just kind of like hitting it in the contrast. But I don't know. It's interesting for me because I'm a nerd about my sandwiches, like to see what's going to pop kind of in the photos. Like I didn't expect it. And from this one, it's just like, this one's about the mustard. It's like a study in mustard in yellow. The black sesame is fantastic. One thing I will say about the black sesame though, if like you get a loaf of it, an unsliced loaf, and you're slicing it yourself, the seeds go absolutely everywhere. And they look like ants. They are the size, shape, and color of a little black ant. And so it's just like, it seems like your counter and like the floor is just like covered in ants, which is psychologically triggering for me because in the summer, our house is just inundated with ants. Like I'm just fighting ant invasions all summer because they're coming in like looking for water, for food, whatever. And it's literally, they were in our shower the other day. I had to put an ant trap in the shower and I like timed it in between showers so that I have time to do it. It's nuts. Anyway, so the black sesame is delicious. I really do love mustard and avocado. Like avocado, I go through so many avocados in a week, which is maybe the most California or millennial thing about me. How much I love avocado. Yeah. Thanks. It was a good one. This was like a hearty sandwich. It's like, because the bread is like, it's not a light bread either. So that was great. Oh man, everyone's getting ants. This is just like a summer thing, I guess. It's not just me. I love it. Oh, there was something else. Sorry. Lindsay from Philadelphia joined every week for a year, but usually on my phone, so I can't see comments. This is great. I've been able to finish 2 scripts. I love it. Didn't even know you were there, and you're like getting all the writing done. It's so funny when I saw this and you said that you were watching on your phone. I just realized how much of a millennial I am, and like maybe elder millennial, because there's just certain things for like millennials where there's like laptop tasks and phone tasks. So like watching a live stream, that's a laptop. Like I won't do that on a phone, or like buying a plane ticket, or or like a movie ticket, or like those are like laptop things. Like I need the big screen, and that's how I feel about like live streams too. But it totally makes sense that you have like, you're watching it on your phone and then you're like typing on your computer, and like, yeah, it just I don't know, it's funny. Anyways, I'm so glad that you're able to write 2 scripts just like in the background, just like getting it done. I love it. Congrats. That's so awesome. Yeah, we have this like pharaoh ant bait stuff that works, but the problem is just like they come from another place. It's like there's multiple colonies, and so it's like you deal with one and then another one comes, and so it's just an ongoing thing. Anyways, that's what Let's Write Scripts is. It's scripts, it's sandwiches, and ant talk. Now I'm gonna have the most eclectic talk show in the world. Script, sandwich, and ant talk. Anyways, that's the sandwich of the week. All right. Love it, everybody. This is great. So glad y'all are here. Like I always say this, but it's such a highlight of the week to hang out with you guys and write. I love it. Yeah, please join next week. Please check out the other videos on our channel. There's a lot of resources on there. I've been doing a lot of videos about different topics, and so please check it out. Well, yes, that's true. But the problem is that like we have pets and stuff, so I don't like leaving ant traps out just because I don't want the dogs to like get into them, even though they probably won't, but it's just my thing. So I have to, in my mind, I have to like wait for the ant invasion, trace the source of the ant, and then put the ant in. Ralph, you arrived just in time for the last sprint, and then you can go back and rewatch it because it's on YouTube recorded. So don't worry, you can do the sprints in like reverse order, or if you want. Pamela is putting in a vote for watching my amazing videos. Thank you, Pamela. That means a lot to me. I love it. I love it. Definitely when we call it, you two are an older millennial, but I need two screens. That's right. I actually do have two screens, but I just have like a external monitor. Yeah, right there that you can see. So I definitely get the two screens. That's fantastic. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying those videos. I'm having a lot of fun making them, and just like being able to dig into these topics and like use the examples of like real movies and TV shows and stuff like that. All right. We're at 2:15. Yeah. All right. So I think we're going to end with a 20-minute sprint here. Yeah. Because we're not like actually that far behind. Like usually we're further behind, I feel like, at this. Krifa, thanks for coming by. If you have to leave during this sprint, like people are stepping out now, that's totally fine. This is like a come when you can, leave when you need to totally thing. And remember, these videos are like on YouTube. You can go back and like just watch them. Like you can watch them live. I love it when you're live, but you can like rewatch these at any time and just be like I don't know if it's like a Saturday or like a Monday morning or whatever. Just like you're like, oh, I want to do a little sprint. Like put it on, whatever, rewatch it. Just do some writing, or just like set your own timer. You can do whatever you want. But we're gonna do one more writing sprint. We're gonna take this good energy and we're gonna try to lock down. If you're watching on your phone, if you're watching on your laptop, if you're an elder millennial or you're just doing it purely on your phone, whatever it is, we're gonna do one more writing sprint. Maybe you're writing on a notepad. Actually, I love writing on a notepad sometimes. I love to switch it up. It's like a yellow legal pad. There's something about that. That's really fun to write in. But we're going to do one more writing sprint, 20 minutes on the clock. We're tired maybe, especially if you're in the heat like I am. But let's just try to like finish strong and just kind of like lock in on what we're here to do. And I like to think of, it's like an investment to be here, right? You've set aside the time, you've invested your time and your energy. So like give yourself the best chance of getting a return on that investment by focusing, by, really giving everything you can during the time that you set aside for your writing. Because I know we all got a lot of stuff going on in our lives. So one of the keys is like dealing with a lot of stuff or busy schedule is, making the most of the time that you do set aside. And that's something I struggle with sometimes. I know, I think everyone does, where it's like you set aside the time and then your just head's not there and you're checking things and you're just, you're distracted. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to do 20 minutes. If you have to leave during that sprint, this sprint here, no worries. Just say farewell in the chat. Let me know how it went. And if you stick around to the very end, we will say our final farewells before we part ways for the week. Kelly, I'm feeling good about this sprint. I think it's going to be the one for you. I believe in you. We're going to do this together. 20 minutes on the clock. Let's do it, everybody. Happy writing. All right. This is a very smooth and steady end of the sprint because I don't want to give people jump scares like I did at the end of last sprint. And now I start speaking a little louder and come up to my normal speaking voice. All right, everybody, that was our third and final writing sprint, which brings us to the end of Let's Write Scripts for Wednesday, September 3rd. I don't think it's officially fall yet, but I always think of September as the fall. And so it's I'm going to say this is like the first, it's not the fall. It's like 90 something degrees right now. I can't count this as, maybe it'll be the last one of the summer. I'm really hoping it cools off next week here because this is, I don't like it. It's too hot. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I hope you got some great writing done. I hope you had a good time. Maybe learned a few things, had some fun, all the good things. Exercised your brain, got to be creative. I hope to see you next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, other times in other time zones. Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to be writing again next week. In the meantime, check out the videos on our channel that I'm making about screenwriting, storytelling, and please, I hope also that you write outside of the week, or outside of today, other times of the week that you make some time to write. That's because, let this be the foundation or the start of your practice, but if you can, please expand and beyond it because you deserve it. You deserve multiple days of writing. I think that is it for me now. So with that, I'm going to say farewell to everybody and yeah, be kind to yourselves and happy writing, everybody. And I hope to see you all next week. So farewell, everybody. Have a good one.